Daraja, Lauralie, and myself judged the competitors. We created a stage-like bodybuilding competition-like atmosphere where we got people into lineups.
Only has the padding in it, but they also will send the padding and stuffing that's kind of like that. It's in a stuffed animal.
Things all in one blend, so you don't really know what really goes into a product. So you always will get the most efficacious doses in all of the products. And the products, we're constantly like looking at how can we formulate these products better for you, the athlete, because we want it to work. We want you to keep coming back, and we want you to keep getting products. Yes, it's a business. We want you to grow.
Hop it on stage, and I can do whatever you guys ask. Arrive on time to your appointment, which obviously kind of goes without saying, but you know, don't be late and don't be super early because the rooms do get crowded. So just be on time. That's all I ask. I will provide all the makeup, including eyelashes, so lipstick on you, and you guys like it. You guys can purchase it and then use it for the rest of the day.
Can we bring our own lipstick?
Of course you can. Yeah, you can totally do that too. That's totally fine. And then,
if you have,
yeah, you can
already. Do you have them taken off before?
So you can leave them on. I always tell people, a lot of times I have people ask me like, you know, should I get them before the show? And I don't really recommend that because most of the time when people get, unless you're getting like a huge volume set, if you're just getting like a natural plastic set, I'm gonna
keep away from a lot of the negative consequences that we see in terms of what bro science consists of, how that affects us, and how that can affect our health. Because of course, yeah, we all want to do well on stage. We all want to get stronger. We all want to improve our performance, but we also want to live long probably. And we want to have a high quality of life in those long lives. So when we talk about some of the negative consequences that we see, well, the big one here that I think most of us are familiar with show and stage thing is dehydration.
Go down to bikini, or you were in wellness, but you need to downsize your legs to go into bikini, something like that. But generally, everyone's goal is hypertrophy. So different things are really important for hypertrophy to happen, and part of that is recovery. Recovery is probably one of the most important parts. Like Steven talked about, like if you feel like shit, or if you can't get enough sleep and you're waking up and you're not ready to have a really good, solid training session where you're not gonna get injured and you're gonna hit, maybe not a PR, but you're gonna hit your numbers, take an
It can make or break your placing. I have seen so many amazing physiques get on stage, and you see her walk out, you're like, wow, she's lean, she's conditioned, she has the shape, she has the fullness, the size, and then she hits her poses, and one, there's just no tempo, there's no flow, and the poses look a little bit janky, and then, you know, the judges go, well, I don't know where to put you, because you have a great physique, but I don't see the display, and then maybe someone that isn't quite as conditioned, still has great shape, muscularity, and fullness, but that stage presence is there. Your eye is drawn to that person, and they just look.
So we just got done with the amazing event, our first ever completely competitor-driven event called Command the Stage, where we brought in experts, coaches to learn about the entire process of getting on a competition stage, competing, and it was female specific. So we focused on the divisions bikini, figure, and wellness, and within the NPC and the IFBB Pro League. So the weekend started on Thursday evening. We just had a general meetup, but Friday morning we got going nice and early with our presenters. Now, the topics ranged from, we talked about things, even how to select a suit, how to do your makeup. Then we got into some of the science around competing. We talked about anything to do with training, lots to do with nutrition, lots to do with prep strategies. And after a few of those talks, we took a nice walk. We walked to our gym where we had to set up multiple training stations. Now, the purpose of these training stations was to make sure that we as athletes, or the athletes that attended, were executing the lifts properly specific to their division. A lot of times we get a program and we see the program written out and we think we are hitting the exercises properly, but it's great to have an expert supervise us. So a lot of the Pro Physique coaches were training people, including myself. Unfortunately, there's not much video of me because I was shooting all the clips that you see, but I got clips of all the coaches. Also, people like Bret Contreras came, who is the inventor of the barbell hip thrust and the biggest authority on glute training in the world. So I love having Bret come in and work with us specifically, but he's also got a PhD in exercise physiology. So he helps us with all the movements, including shoulder presses and stuff like that. But the goal here is not to beat the people up, right? We had multiple stations. I think we had as many as 9 stations, but the goal was to spend a little bit of time at each station and correct form and make sure that when these athletes go back to training at home, that they are hitting the muscles in the intended way for the lift. So we focused on the lifts, the first day being upper body, the second day being lower body. Then after our training session, we went and just had some fun. What I have found at these events is sometimes we spend so much time in the classroom in the gym that we don't get any time for shenanigans and getting up to some fun. But after doing these events for so many years, I've found that the biggest takeaway for me is always the community, the amazing people that we get to meet, because some of us don't have the ability to meet competitors and get to know other competitors in our specific location. So when you bring this many competitors together, I want to make sure these people are building lifelong friendships. So we went to a place called Main Event. We played some laser tag. We played some basketball. Yes, I set the high score on the game. But the point was to goof around, to have some fun, to do some bowling. If you wanted to have a drink, have a drink. We had an event catered, plenty of food. And then we got started again bright and early on Saturday morning with some more presentations. On Saturday, I spoke. Here, sodium, they like salt, they like soy sauce, they like hot sauce at the end of prep. So my theory on that is because our fat cells are actually like an organ in our body. They sell signals to our brain. They're like, dude, we're dehydrated. So our body is like taking more sodium to hold more water. I eat a ton of hot sauce and buffalo sauce at the end of prep. It's like, I put it on rice cakes. I'm like, what am I doing? It just sounds good, right? Like you guys go through your cycle, you crave things like steak and red meat, right? That's because you're craving iron for your blood during certain phases of your cycle. So our brain and our body is very connected if you listen to it. So the reason we want more sodium is because we're essentially, when we have no fat cells left, dehydrated at all times. That's why you can drink 2 gallons of water and still look dry, because it's just going right through you. It just goes to the muscles if you're taking in enough sodium and carbohydrates. So the theory behind linear loading.
I hired a coach, so I was like, I need to find a way to learn about my craft, right? Because there was not a lot out there. There was like magazine, bodybuilding.com, and Paul was probably, when did you start your YouTube channel? Like 2017 maybe?
Oh no, it was 2010, but thanks for watching.
Okay.
But bikini prep videos, yeah, it was later. Yeah.
So he was one of them that had a YouTube channel, and it was extremely informative. And at the beginning of your presentation, Paul, you did say how knowledge is important, and your goal is never to have any one of you girls depending on him or like anything that he tells you. You're all here.
And keep in mind, the more we focus on it, the stronger those thoughts are going to be. So you're creating these neural connections and you're building and strengthening neural communities. So let's say, for instance,
the other was a fast rate. So it's really not that, like the one group basically took 8.5 weeks to lose. They lost about 4.2% of their body weight, right? And the other group went quicker. They took 5.3 weeks, okay? So the group that lost it more quickly, check this out, this is kind of interesting. The group that took their time, the slow rate weight loss, they actually gained a kilogram of body mass. So they gained like 2.2 pounds of muscle. Whereas the other group, the fast group, lost it, and then if you look at fat mass, you know, they lost 4.9% of fat mass, and the other only lost 3.2. So this clearly shows an advantage to taking your time and slowing down your rate of weight loss. But if you look at the performance measures, all the performance measures on the slow group, you know, 2% or Is that 2 centimeter increase?
We had some great speakers. We walked all the way to the gym. It's a nice 15-minute walk. February, it's a beautiful time to be in Florida. It was like 70, 80 degrees, sun was out, so we were able to walk over to the gym, get our training in.
Think about pressing those hips in the pad. Yeah.
Knee all the way out. There you go. And then just straight up. Good.
Yep. Okay, let's scoop. Hold up, slow down, we can hear that. Yes. A little deeper. Okay. Now I'm going to move my hand. Don't use. Do the same thing up. Up. One side back. You strict. Boom. Just like that. Yep. Good. A little deeper. A little deeper. Yes. That's it. That's it. Good.
You're over here on this side. Who here normally pulls conventional? Conventional is here. Sumo is here. Conventional, I want on this side. Whoever pulls like this, I want on this side. Okay? So watch out behind you. We're going to be using that one too. Big things we want to contrast an idea. Deadlift is a posterior chain movement. So we're talking glutes and hamstrings. We don't want to be squatting the bar up. We're not looking for a lot of this movement. We're looking for this movement where the hips are coming back. Okay? We're looking for as safe of a spine as possible. So a few things that we want to talk about. One, we all talked about breaking the bar yesterday with pull downs, right? So when I get down in here, I'm going to find my stance. Like I'm going to jump. That's my normal jumping stance. Guess what? That's my conventional deadlift stance. I come down. See how my knees can push the bar away? I'm going to try and keep them as perpendicular as I possibly can. I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab the bar, I'm going to break it in half, and I'm going to sit into this. See how the bar's off the ground already? I haven't started lifting. That's where I really want everybody to pay attention to. So whether we're pulling sumo, not lifting, or we're pulling conventional, is that starting position, because that's where a lot of us get hurt. We can try and rush it, and guess what happens? Boom! Hips are up, the back is hurt. Ah!
So say you have two boxes like that. When I'm going to lift out, hips forward. Very good. So when I lift the
Now on this day, after we went through our lower body movements, we set up a mock stage. That's right. Daraja, Lauralie, and myself judged the competitors. We created a stage-like bodybuilding competition-like atmosphere where we got people into lineups, did call-outs, worked on walking, and just got people comfortable with the process of getting on stage. Now, this is more nerve-wracking than an actual show because of just the how intense it is. So it's a great opportunity to look at, okay, where are my flaws? Do I not make proper eye contact? Am I not hitting the proper angles on these poses, right? So you get to really break down under stress what a competitor is going to do on stage. And I think the big takeaway is people can leave here with a better understanding of nutrition and training, a better understanding of mindset, a better understanding of how to train properly for their division. Make sure they're training the muscle properly to build it, and then also to really understand how you should be handling your suit, your tan, your makeup, your hair, and your posing, your stage presentation, okay? And then the final event of the weekend on Saturday night was a large get-together, a little bit dressed up, catered. We had a bartender for those that wanted to drink. And the point here was just to kind of reconvene. Now, after 3 days, you can understand that there were some great friendships made, some great connections. And by day 3, I think all of us were a little bit sad to leave. But the purpose of this event was to set everybody up for a great competition season, whether that is this year, whether that is next year. And we cannot wait to do this event again. So thank you guys for all that attended and were a part of the event. And if you're interested in an event like this in the future, keep following.